Boom, a boom, boom. He's Chef Track on the fast track. He's Chef Track on the fast track. He's shaking and baking and mixing and fixing nutritious meal, nutritious meal. He's Chef Track on.
Hello, folks. Once again, we're here for another Chef Trek adventure.
That's right.
A.BIRD, Chef A.BIRD.
Thank you.
I'm Chef Delmer Gill.
Yes, he is.
Mia, what do we always talk about here? Something about my four?
Your four F's?
My 4F's.
That's right. Faith.
Faith.
Family.
Family.
Friends.
And
this stuff on the table.
food. You know, we can throw another F in.
Okay.
No, we can throw 2 F's in, actually.
Okay.
Those 2 F's would be for the Fed, Federal Reserve Bank.
Yay!
Which we have some folks here from the Reserve Bank, and the Reserve Bank is a supporter of the Chef Trek Adventures. And let's throw another F in.
All right.
That F is for Flick International Dining.
Awesome!
And our catering director, hi Patty, is here.
Oh, hi Patty.
So, where are we starting here? What is this wonderful stuff you've been doing here, Mia?
Well, we came right in and these things were the star of the show before we even got on the set. So we're making something today. Obviously, do you want to let the studio audience know what today's menu, because they see all of this stuff. They might see colors. They might have an idea, but you want to give them a clue as to what it is, what types of food this adventure is going to today?
Beads.
Beads.
It's Mardi Gras.
It is Mardi Gras.
Ooh, yeah. It's Mardi Gras. This is festive foods for Mardi Gras, and we've been able to come up with some interesting things that are easy that folks at home can try.
Right.
Now, what are these things?
So Dell's dad was like he's amazing. He was an amazing man. He always had these Gill-isms, as we call them, these little things. And the reason why he's barking is because what we're making is hush puppies. So, Dell, you want to tell sit down, dog.
Sit down, dog.
You want to tell everybody?
Well, the story that I got from my dad, bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
He's gone home to be with the Lord.
That's right.
The story that I got from him about hush puppies was that, you know, Mama was in the kitchen fixing up this stuff, and Mia would tell us what's in it. And supposedly the dog was there yapping, and the woman would go through it and say, "Hush, puppy." So obviously that's what my dad said.
And that was a typical thing.
I don't know if there's any truth to it.
That's right.
But knowing him, it was partly truth and partly him.
That's right.
Now, one thing that he did was he always inspired us as a family and friends with stories. His version. Now here we have, not a Bible, but yes, actually it is. It's the Encyclopedia of Cooking, which I do believe was put out in 1953, I think.
Dell, was that before the internet?
Way before.
So that was the internet before the internet was the internet. Okay.
This was the cookbook that my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful grandmother, Laura Jane Brown, yes, it's difficult for me. Those of you that know me know I cried at a drop of a hat. Tears of joy.
That's right.
But this is the cookbook that my grandmother always used, and my love for cooking came from my grandmother and my mother, and then later on my father. Now, what's in these hushy puppies?
Okay, so A lot of people, we go different places and we try different things. Some people get them already made. We came in, they were already frying, so we did them from scratch. And some hush puppies have a more cornmeal feel. They're really grainy. But these are, because see, we're Northerners. We.
You mean Northern? I'm from the South.
Well, we're living here.
I'm from the South.
All right, South what?
I'm from the South.
Okay. So
I was born Jefferson Hospital, and that's south of Market Street. So I'm from the South.
And I'm South Philly. I'm from
And you're
South Philly. So
South
there you go.
Philly.
There you go. So the thing is, people from Louisiana know hush puppies differently than we may living up here. So we try to keep it a little bit more traditional because a lot of the foods we're going to talk about today, all these wonderful foods we've made before you, they are foods of people who are just from the region, and it's the way that they cook. It's not about quick, make dinner in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. When you think of Louisiana cooking, think low and slow. Think that you take your time with it. And so these hush puppies, they were made from scratch, but these are what they would call hush puppies white. So if anyone's ever been, is there anyone who's been to Mardi Gras, been to New Orleans before? Awesome, we got some people in the audience, wonderful. So if you have, you'll know that there's a huge French influence on Louisiana cooking, and these are more in the style of a beignet. And a beignet is like fried dough. And so these hush puppies are, like I said, more traditional. So they're made to, you know, maybe sop up with some Louisiana hot sauce. Ooh. Or you can, as you get a chance to taste all of our food that we've made for you, they're used as an accompaniment or as a meal to themselves, but you can, they do great with soaking up sauces. So you can pour your sauce from your gumbo or from your jambalaya or whatever. Or like I said, just eat them as a meal, but they are fried, but they're comfort food. And
they're very comfort food.
Yes, they are. And when you smell fried cooking, when you smell fried food, it smells like home. You smell the oil in the air, and it's really aromatic, and it's really wonderful. So that's our hush puppies, and
now,
we'll have those.
What else do we have here? Seated in front of me, seated. No, they're seated in front of me. In front of me, we have a nice, hearty chicken gumbo.
That's right.
Now,
Del, this is the recipe that you use from your grandmother's. Some of those.
The recipe came from Grandma's book.
That's right.
Now, basically, when we do these shows, we always have a abundance of different fruits or vegetables now, and the majority of these have been used into what we're doing now.
So what did you put in the gumbo?
In there we have the onion.
Onion.
We have the peppers. Okay. A little bit of hot, so we put some jalapeno in.
Okay.
And of course, everybody's favorite, okra.
But you didn't tell the audience what you started it with, because those vegetables are great, but what is a lot of Louisiana cooking? You started it with something, starts with R.
Well, there's the roux. What we did was we started this with a roux, and that's combinations this time of oil and flour. You got a nice light brown roux. Then I added my onions, I added my peppers, and gradually added all my vegetables.
Yes.
Now, the roux is a thickening agent, but guess what? Ha ha ha. Okra also is in there to add to the thickness.
Yes.
And
what about your spices? Because one of the things,
spices?
When you said thickening, where is that picture of that man? If you guys could see this, I love my best friend because he's doing something today that he doesn't normally do.
It's a lot I don't normally do.
He's doing a lot he doesn't normally
do.
So his dad, the Jeff cap that he's wearing today belonged to his father. Del doesn't wear that cap out too much.
It is so funny because I always like my dad in these caps. I said, well, you know, that's not really me. And I tried them on. I said, no, that's not really me. But then we were going somewhere. And we were, they call it playing dress up.
Yes.
But I decided to put it on. I said, hey, I was wrong. This is me after all. And it's about paying tribute to those who have inspired you.
That's right. And speaking of inspiration, his father was his inspiration. But when we're talking about Louisiana cooking, we cannot overlook the greats who exposed the world to a lot of this great food. And Paul Prudhomme, is one of those greats.
Yes,
and
he
he
is.
happens to don
So
a
I
white Jeff
decided
cap like
to
Del
wear
has
the
on
cap
today.
in honor of Roscoe Gill Sr.
Right.
and Paul Houdon.
Yes, yes. And so
Also,
go ahead.
what's this about? Wait a minute. Is it in front of me?
What?
We have onion. We have green pepper or bell pepper, and we have celery. Now, we as Christians, we know of the Holy Trinity. And that would be the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But in Cajun cooking, they have a Holy Trinity.
Right.
Carrots. Hey, Delmer, that's not carrots. Even though the original carrot was white. Onion, celery, and peppers. Because you find in this type of cooking, these three are, if not always used together, but these three you will find in just about everything from that Louisiana era, from that. So they call it the Holy Trinity of Cajun cooking.
And you can understand why they would call it the Holy Trinity, because it's at the base of so many things that they do. It guides and steers and influences everything. So they acknowledge that.
Yes, yes.
The deity of food and the deity of God in their food. So one of the other things, you're making gumbo, you were talking about the raw ingredients, but as we were talking about Paul Prudhomme, this spices, it's called gumbo, F-I-L-E. Some people up here, we call it file, because that's how...
Well, I'm from up here, even though I was from down there. But the pronunciation is...
Gumbo feed, because there's a lot of French words. A lot of our words from English come from France. And so, you know, this gumbo file, or gumbo feed, as some people call it, all it is sassafras leaves.
Yep.
And one thing to know about people who cook from different areas, they understand the importance of putting nutrition and minerals and vitamins in their food and using everything from the surrounding area. So sassafras leaves have a lot of healing qualities and a lot of things that help your body function, your blood function the way it needs to function so that you stay healthy. So it tastes good, but a lot of times it's good for you. Not always when we're frying is the food good for you, obviously, but you gotta have a balance. So Del, you put that in your gumbo. What else did you have? What else did you have?
Now, in here we have a little bit of the gumbo feed, but we also have a Cajun spice blend that's in there. Salt, pepper, the oil that started it off, the roux that started it off, and that's just about it.
Okay.
Because we did put garlic in, we put fresh garlic in,
okay,
as opposed to a garlic powder or garlic stick. Oftentimes you hear of garlic powder, granulated garlic, and garlic salt.
Right.
I have no problem with any of them, but if you are going to use the onion or the garlic salt, don't add any other salt.
Right. Right.
You know.
Okay.
Now, we have a Cajun, well actually it's not actually Cajun. What is this sausage there, A.BIRD?
Well, it's like this. I love that the fact with the with the ChefTrek Adventures, it's made so that people who may not be professional chefs can use any ingredients that are available to them. My best friend, and thanks to the Fed, he was able to get a hold of some sausage. And Dewey sausage is very expensive. I mean, when I say expensive, I know Gill wouldn't like that word, but it's sometimes not available in certain areas. So Del used chorizo sausage. What it basically is, it's a swap.
That's from somewhere else.
It's from somewhere else. It's a swap. It's one flavorful sausage for another one. So chorizo's from Mexico. You can find it in a lot of Spanish-speaking countries. But the point of it is, it's a flavorful sausage that imparts flavor to a stew or a soup or a jambalaya.
Yes.
But the sausage that he has, it's a little bit spicy. Because the chorizo's a little spicy. Sometimes the andouille's a little spicy.
Yes,
but it's smoked, it's wonderful, it gives a good flavor. And it is pork, so you know.
Yes, it is pork. Now, Mia.
Yes?
What do we got here?
Come on. Who could talk about Cajun food and Creole cooking and anything from the French Quarter in the Louisiana without remembering the bayou? The reason why they love that their food contains so many different varieties of seafood. That's right, is because they live so close to so many bodies of water. And there's all kinds of seafood that they get, wonderful seafood. Crayfish, another name for them, crawdads, crawfish, there's a million names. And
Crayfish, crawfish, minister lobster.
So.
Now, for those of you that got our handout, and once again, we can thank the Federal Reserve Bank, but listed is the recipe for this roasted corn, okra, and tomato salad. And actually, that can even be served hot. And once again, we have some of the same ingredients. We made a nice vinaigrette with our Cajun seasoning.
Yes.
With a little bit of oil, salt, pepper, a wee bit of sweetening. And we used vinegar, and that vinegar was apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider is really good for your body.
Now, speaking of that same type of mixture, we have a nice, spicy Zydeco or Cajun slaw. And we have our regular ingredients. Hey,
wait a minute. Regular ingredients? What are the regular ingredients? That's what I want to know.
Cabbage.
Yeah.
And carrots.
Yeah.
Which is usually in slaw.
Yeah.
That's regular.
Well, I know something else that's regularly in slaw that you don't like to put in slaw, but it looks like it's in there.
I put, all right. I confess, I'm not a mayonnaise-y type of person, but sometimes you use mayonnaise. But oftentimes when I'm doing a slaw, and those of you that are at Cafe Philadelphia at the bank, where I do a salad bar, you'll get different types of slaws. Some are vinegary with sweetness, and some are mayonnaise-y.
Mayonnaise-y, okay.
You know, but yes.
I just know that he does usually use mayonnaise, and when I saw he was using mayonnaise, I'm going, oh, okay, changing.
I've been known to use mayonnaise, but what we didn't put in here, which we do have, and guess what? We'll throw some in anyhow, is a bit of our red cabbage,
yes.
So we just aren't using the white.
All right. So what else is in that dressing? You started with a mayonnaise base.
We have an oil base,
okay.
Oil and vinegar base.
Okay.
Salt, pepper, garlic. Once again, we are using that same apple cider
okay.
and blended oil. And after we whisk that to a nice consistency, then I added generous portions of mayonnaise.
All right. So you all got that.
And of course, we know you should always taste your stuff like we do you. You taste your stuff as you're making it.
That's right.
So you can determine if you have enough salt, pepper, or, you can adjust your seasonings.
Right.
Or your sweetening.
Or your sweetening, that's right. So just so you know, we're making a switch a little bit. I'm going to show you how you're going to get a chance to taste a recipe called pecan rice.
Woohoo! Oh, sorry.
It is exciting because it's really good. So Del and I, when we were talking about this recipe, we decided we wanted to make a recipe. And so often, when one person comes up with an idea or some ideas, it's great because you're gifted, you're talented. But when people come together, like nothing short of amazing and miraculous happens. So Del and I kind of went back and forth with this whole recipe.
Yes,
because,
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Boy, did we.
Because the pecan rice, we knew we wanted to start with pecan oil. This was something that
Louisiana.
From Louisiana. It's actually made on a plantation that's over like 150 years old. But anybody can just make white rice, steam it, throw in some pecans, and call it pecan rice. But we wanted to come together and come up with something that was really flavorful and that really tasted like pecans and had other good flavors. So we wanted to start with a pecan oil. And then what we did is I started with some garlic, just that trinity we were talking about, but I put a little bit of garlic in ours just to give it a little bit more flavor. When we're talking about cooking from Louisiana and foods from Louisiana, again, we talk about low and slow. So in order to get a roux brown, that's that oil and flour we're talking about, that gives it, it's a thickening agent, but it's also a flavoring agent. In order to get it brown, you've got to cook it for a while. In order for you to brown your any vegetables or anything you're going to use, you got to cook it for a while. And you can't, you know, you can saute, but you're going to have to saute it for a little bit longer to get some caramelization and some color on it. So I'm just trying to demonstrate how we made the pecan rice because you'll get a chance to taste it.
Certainly.
And this is just a quick version of the longer process that it took. So we started off with some garlic, threw in your Trinity, whatever amount you want. If you like more onions, put more onions. If you like less, put less. None, that's fine too.
It's always up to you.
Yep.
Basically, what I tell people all the time is, you get a recipe, you understand the ingredients. There may be certain ingredients you may want to swap or eliminate. Then you study your method or your directions to that, and then you apply it the way you want to apply it. But I tell people all the time is what you want to do at home. A recipe is a guideline for folks. It's a guideline. It shows you the possible ingredients and usually a definite method. But what's that I say? Be ye not afraid in the kitchen, as we all like to know.
That's right.
Be ye not afraid in our lives.
That's right.
Because
Gil,
we are under his protection.
that's right. Gil, could you get the pecans? They were on the table. They did a magic act and disappeared.
Yes.
But what I'm adding in right now is some scallions, green onions. Some people call them scunions. But
Yeah, I've heard scunion.
You've heard scunion? So we're just gonna...
Scunions go good with shrimp. Sorry.
Can I just have a little? So Gil's, and however you like, if you want to try your pecans, what's great about this is pecans are our protein source. So,
Absolutely.
You know, when you're putting your rice, you could use brown rice.
And how much do you want to
Just chuck it in, any old kind of way. We just want to get see some more, get a little bit more in there, Gil.
No, wait a minute.
More liberal. Come on, we got to
You
see the
said
pecan
chunk it
rice.
in, any old amount, now you want more.
I didn't say chunk, I said chuck.
Chuck.
You're getting chunk mixed.
Is Chuck here today? No, actually, Chuck's not here today. He
The
was
reason-
going to be here, but he didn't make it.
The reason why I'm being silly is because chunk is something that me and my daughter kind of joke about, so he knows it's kind of like an inside joke. So,
Yeah.
so we threw in the, we chucked in or chunked in the pecans. And so those are going to start releasing some of their natural oils. So the nuttiness of the pecan oil, the nuttiness obviously of the pecans. But one of the things, and this is where I told Del, we had to make a bit of a change. I made this already, and it might look a little weird if you guys could see it. It might look a little weird because a lot of the solids are browned and a lot of the fat is on the top. Sorry. Thanks, Gil. But this is brown butter. A lot of people are using brown butter in a lot of recipes now because it's full of flavor and it's nutty. But brown butter, you just have to know how to make it. That's right.
You can't blame me for you crying over the onions this
That's
time.
right.
Now,
So-
what are we going to do with this brown butter?
Well, what we're going to do is put a little bit of it in, and the way you make it, obviously just put whatever butter you like, and you just separate. You don't saute the stuff in the butter. You put it in a separate pan, and you just kind of gently put it on medium and let it get a little brown, not black, not scorched. But what's going to happen, the solids that are in the butter are going to get a little dark, and then the fat's going to float to the top. But what I wish we could, I'm going to put some of this in, and then I'm going to pass it around so people can smell it. Could you put that in, Gil?
Certainly.
This does not smell like normal butter. I'm just going to pass this around. It doesn't smell like the butter smells when you take it out of a pack. You can smell it has a nutty flavor. And so it goes well with the pecans because it's nutty. It's driving the whole nutty, flavorful point all the way home. So obviously, guys, we just put in some pecan oil. We just put in some brown butter. Again, I know we're being very conscious of our hearts and health, and that's something at the Chef Trek Adventures series we are also aware of. But when you do things like eat a lot of fruits and vegetables,
Absolutely.
getting your fiber and roughage, the things that cleans out your system, then you can have more of a balance as opposed to eating this every day. So we're almost ready with this, so we're going to turn it up. Gil, can you hand me the rice back there, please? All right.
Now, of course, this rice is already cooked. And what we've done is we use cooked rice only to speed up the time for the show. But if you were doing this, as the recipes, and those recipes you'll be able to get from our website, indicate either cooked or raw rice, depending on which ones you want.
And so you can use whatever rice you like. If you like jasmine rice, use jasmine rice. If you want to use brown rice for some more nutritional value, use jasmine rice or brown rice. What I'm doing is putting a little bit of water. I'm going to take a little bit of chicken stock.
You got it?
Who moved the stock? Yeah, who did move the stock? I was joking with Del because I said he's got all the bases covered. He has chicken base, beef base, and vegetable base back there. Most home cooks don't have time to make their own stocks and sauces, or stocks and bases. So I really advise, unless you really do have the time, you can just take the shortcut. Just be careful of the sodium in these kind of things because they can get pretty salty. But you know, what I'm doing right now is just adding some moisture to the rice and a little bit of flavor. So I just he added some chicken stock. I'm just dissolving that base. And you saw me shaking in a little Cajun seasoning. That's all, any one you like. And like I said, a little bit of water. And that's going to be...
Are we ready for our stock?
Yes, we are. So, how does it smell in here, guys? It smells good. Awesome. So you can smell the wonderful flavors of New Orleans, whether it's the scallions or the Holy Trinity, the pecans. But one quick story about pecans. So there's a lot of pecans growing in Louisiana. There's a lot of people who pick pecans. So I was going to bring this with me today, and I told Del I forgot we were busy. But things happen.
You're here, I'm here, they're here.
That's right.
But
so
who's not here?
My daughter.
Well, we know, yes. Oftentimes her daughter, Shadima, is on our show, either participating or just walking in front of the camera, which is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
She's on an adventure of her own today, correct?
Yes, she is. And speaking of Shadima, we're all descended from my mother. And so that's where the pecan story came in. So went to a flea market, one of our favorite things that we like to do.
Yay.
And I saw this antique pecan. And so it's a little nut. And someone had taken the time, you talk about folk art and self-taught art, they had taken the time and wrapped a piece of African cloth around the top of the pecan. Someone had sewed little brass earrings and glued them on, drew this beautiful face. And it was another way to use pecans and to see them as just, other than just something to eat. It was just something fun. And what I love, it made me think of my mom, because my pecan mammy, my mom. It reminded me of my mom. But also I love the fact that it was the brown skin, the color of a pecan was like my color. And I like to think Adele, he's butter pecan and I'm just pecan.
That's right. Absolutely. I'll go with butter pecan.
All right, Adele, what haven't we talked about here?
We haven't talked about the band.
Oh, them!
Nick! Craig! Balaji! Let's take them home!
Wait, I'm here, right? And we just... Awesome.
Thank you, we love you.
Boom, a boom, boom. He's Chef Track on the fast track. He's Chef Track on the fast track. He's shaking and baking and mixing and fixing nutritious meal, nutritious meal. He's Chef Track on the fast track. He's Chef Track on the fast track. His food is so good, good. His food is so good, good. His food is so good, good. Chef Track, Chef Track, Chef Track, Chef Track. His food is so good. Chef Track, Chef Track.